Hello, everybody. Angel Arts here, and finally, after a few months of hiatus, more than a few months hiatus, we are ending this campaign with its finale. I am here once again, joined by our 4 players, heroes.
3 players now.
3 players now. I've missed all 4 of you. And it's going to be really sad when this is all over, but it's okay. We are going to end this, and we're going to end this right. Starting with, surprise, surprise, the warm-up question. I am going to pose 2 warm-up questions today because it's going to be our final one.
Okay.
The first warm-up question I am going to ask you is, take a look back, take a step back, and try to remember your character when this entire adventure began, and look at where your character is now. Please tell me how your character has evolved and changed throughout this adventure. That is question number 1. And question number 2, because this is probably going to be, you'll probably need some time to think about this, so I'll give you a chance to think about it while other people are giving answers. Pick one of your favorites. You don't have to say it is your favorite, because I know that can be hard. Pick one of your most favorite moments in this campaign. Any favorite moment in this campaign, out of character.
Alright.
Did you want to go first, Lucky Jack?
I'll go first, get it out of the way.
Start by answering only the first question.
Only first question, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I think Leoden, when he first started off, was definitely socially awkward. Was not really the kind to be seen or even in his mind feel accepted in groups, or he tried to work solo mainly because he felt that was the best way, that was the path of least resistance in what he was trying to do. And so, first of all, I think he's had a huge boost of confidence, and he feels more assured that he can handle the responsibility of having to look after someone else, or to understand that there's more to life than just him. You know, it's not just his own problems, other people's having their issues as well. He sees the chance to make things right in this world as his chance to, like, his way of redeeming the life choices he had made in the past to inevitably lead him to where he is right now. I think overall, trying to think of the way to describe this without sounding cheesy and corny and out of a VeggieTales special or something, but I want to say that if anything, one of the big things that happened is he's become more human. Like he had been so detached from other people, and by his own self choice to be detached, but his adventure, more or less, besides giving him a giant awesome Eye of the Power He-Man sword, but it's also given him the chance to connect. And thank you, Connor. Connor, special guest in the finale episode.
Yes.
Say hello to everybody in the finale
Wouldn't
episode.
be anything without Connor showing up.
Yes.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Connor.
I can't see you yet. You're over the side. No, you don't. There he is. Get in here.
Oh, I need
Connor!
This is him.
I was gonna say I don't recognize you with you twerking and asking him to put something on your chest.
Oh.
Yes. You're not, this time.
I gave you chips.
I don't need
what I
chips.
put on my chest last time.
You put. Remember you were telling
Oh,
me
I
that
wrote
put
queef on
vagina.
it.
No, you put. You're not doing that. You're not.
He was reprising his role.
He's reprising his role.
Anyway, so back to
Was
my
that scripted?
No.
Is there anything else, Lucky Jack?
Yes, I was going to say, he's now learned how to connect more. He feels able to emote. He feels able, not, but you know what I mean. He feels more whole as of this. He doesn't feel as if he doesn't feel so different now.
Okay.
Be the first question. I'll let you know.
Wonderful, Lucky Jack. Who else would like to answer the first question?
I think it's actually pretty easy.
Go ahead.
In my case, well, everybody knows the kind of punk Delman was when he first walked into this adventure, running away from all responsibilities,
You J-pop star, you.
lying constantly.
Lying constantly, yeah.
Yeah, always hiding his magic. Just avoiding any type of responsibility,
Mhm.
avoiding his life, avoiding being responsible for other people.
Mhm.
And throughout the course of the journey, he's like spent so much time around other people now, and it's kind of a little bit of a similar growth to like Leoldin in that like he understands that, you know, he can trust other people.
Mm.
He doesn't have to like survive and do things on his own, but he's also come to acknowledge that his decisions will have repercussions,
Mhm.
and that when he sees, because he's so used to running away, all the mess that's happening is happening
Right.
behind him, and he doesn't bother to look back and see what's happened because of what he's done. So he's had the opportunity through this experience to really notice what the consequences and the repercussions are of all the actions that he makes, and it's kind of opened himself up to, you know, I need to fix this, and I need to stop running away from being a mage and stop running away from, you know, my responsibilities. And so he's grown not only to trust people, but to be more honest and more just to own up to what he does.
Great synopsis. Excellent synopsis.
Yeah.
Gwenail or Maximilian?
Well, I can go.
Okay.
Maximilian's journey hasn't been as dramatic, maybe as Delvin's and Lee's, but in the beginning he was more of a follower in the city guard. He didn't really have a purpose, and that's really evolved in the campaign. He's stepped up to fill some rather big shoes. He's tried the leadership role, which he hadn't had he hadn't had reason to be a leader before, and now he feels like yes, this is where I was meant to be. So he's gotten a purpose in life, and that's probably the most dramatic change in Maximilian's life. Also, he was very strict, and he still is.
Mhm.
And if anything, he's become a bit more pragmatic
Mhm.
after meeting Gelwin. That sometimes the end just find the means.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Gwenail.
So I had come to an interesting thought of how Gwenail started off, and so that, and just put it quite simply, embarrassing enough, at the beginning, Gwenail was kind of your archetypical Disney princess.
Okay.
It is a whole, like, self-discovery world and things like that going off with him and such. Gwenail was very insecure, at the very beginning. He's still, that he was always a person, not that he didn't do anything, that he was always overthought and stuff like that, and tried to find major things and stuff like that. The one true answer, he was trying to always do that and such. And I'm looking for the ultimate answer and stuff like that, but instead, like, he's kind of grown to the point when he's just kind of looking for what the truth, and so that's the truth of the matter, and stuff like that, just to figure out what he needs to do and such. So it was haunted by a lot of insecurities and stuff like that, because he doesn't feel like his ideals or principles or anything really added up to how other people should do things, and he landed on the laurels of other people, fearing that his decisions would lead him astray and stuff like that, or afraid that would he have confidence what he knows was right to do, that other people would judge him for that, and so that he didn't have any confidence to let himself do any of those things. So a lot of what he did with that was really grow out of himself and learn how not to, and without going away from by betraying everyone else, because Gwenail was really much focused on how many, the overarching thing of how many people and how that can all help, and so that everything he has a greater meaning to how it can be applied, and now he's learning to actually do something with it, and not criticize himself, put him down, question everything he does, and so that, and let those people take those things to heart and such. He went as far sometimes as, and so that they even demonize himself because of the spirit things early in his life, and so he gained a lot. So it's not necessarily a matter of confidence. It's not that he never believed he could do anything. He just didn't feel like he had the right to do anything. But now he believes whatever the situation may be, so that he is actually going to act on these things and have confidence in them so that he can help with people and stuff. Because you know what? Maybe sometimes Gwinnale can be right instead of outside of an essay.
Okay. Your favorite moment. Who would like to share their favorite moment?
All of them. Oh wait, can we not do that?
No, you're not allowed to do that. You have to pick one.
This is actually really, really easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's two really, really standout ones, but I picked this one over all the others just because of the amount of development that occurred because of it.
Mm-hmm.
The moment when you're saving Connor,
Mm-hmm.
when Elwyn finally
Reveals
and goes into becoming like a full-blooded blood mage.
Yes.
There's no terminology for this, but just the entire reactions of everybody that was involved and all of the drama that had come after that battle, and I really enjoyed everything that came from that moment in the game.
I just gotta agree with that.
Yeah, like that was a huge moment in Twitter. Like I was gonna say, if I had to pick one particular moment, there was a few that were writing up on this, but it pretty much everything around that and stuff that around in that particular session when everything was revealed and put out and forward and stuff like that. And even in that same session, I got got Aveline, the Spirit of Hope, and everything like this. Everything that came from that, all of that. Was this like great middle peak point and such. So I guess I'm in agreement.
It came at a good time in the story too.
Yep.
It's a very natural kind of progression.
Yeah.
Were you gonna add to that, David?
Well, yeah, there's a few moments, and it's a tough pick. I love the scene with Leoden and Maximilian when he gave him the sword, for example. But I have to agree, with Charlie here that the amount of character development in that scene with Connor and how you can see people break and come back from that, and all the repercussions coming from that scene. It's just, I love it.
Lucky Jack, do you have a different moment that is your favorite out of curiosity, or is that one
Just
also
for
your favorite?
just for the sake of at least touching upon other things that happened in the story, I'll say something different.
Let's just say everyone liked that moment then.
Yeah, whatever. Alice, I'm trying to think. It's a lot to catch up on over a year, almost a year's worth of stuff.
Clearly, it was when your brother burst into the room.
Yes, I was about to say that was a good moment.
I thought about saying that.
Which, by the way, happened in that same session we're talking about.
That was a pivotal moment.
That session was full of
Ups and downs. That's
Yeah.
why it was great.
Trying to think.
But other than that,
the first big nighttime flight encounter with the Archdemon was a pretty cool, epic scenario.
that was the other one I was.
That was a big moment, especially when I decided to make the suicide lead. That was
when you jumped off the Tempest Stream.
Yes,
jumping off this ship.
not even jumping off. I jumped onto Maximilian's shield
Onto the
and
Archdemon.
launched me.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna say anyway.
yes, and that also included that. I mean, sadly, but impactfully, that also included Liam.
Death.
Liam.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of the best moment. Crap! There's a lot that happened.
Yeah, there is a lot.
This is help stall for when David comes back. So
Also, the sessions with Dawnforge were really good too.
Yes, I agree.
those are really fun.
That was fun.
Yeah. Also,
Fun
this
with
I
Andrew,
gotta say,
yes.
I really love that thing he came up with. That better bone than stone. God,
Yes.
that still sticks with me. It's like, oh god, that needs to be reused someday for something else.
So he should contact the people have that be it. Anyway, I would say I did actually. One of my favorite moments was the moment when Gwinnale found Eveline as the Spirit of Hope. That was a touching moment for me.
I will share as well. I'll take the liberty of doing two moments because it's hard to just pick one, obviously. But one moment that really got me emotionally was Delwyn interacting with his mom.
That was going to be my second.
That was-
yeah.
That hit me hard. And I really liked how it ended up. I was trying to take a good... You noticed that I took special care with that scene when I posted it on YouTube, and I was very pleased by the impact of that scene. The other one that I thoroughly enjoyed was the entire dream sequence, each of your individual dreams.
Oh, that was a great
yeah.
scene.
With Leoden, I mean, Leoden ending up like the popular guy in all of Kirkwall,
Yeah, the whole
and
fade sequence.
Kane being his personal slave, basically.
I don't even remember mine. But
Yeah,
I remember everybody else's. I don't remember mine.
Yours is funny. I mean, everyone's reactions.
Weren't you
know.
becoming like the great wizard or the great?
Yeah, you're becoming Great Wizard, and then Delwyn is like, look, blood magic is legal! Like, what's the risk? Yay!
That thing got weird quick.
That got dark in the dark spot when he wrote that.
Yeah.
Delwyn's like, now I know this is not real. Yeah. No, that was probably my other favorite moment.
That was a good scene.
Okay.
And I did like the little moments that Leoden and Liam had before, or whatever,
Yes.
when he was trying to.
I agree. Shali, one thing that Flemeth / Morrigan / whoever
Right.
is going to mention to Delwyn. I haven't mentioned this before, but Delwyn has been feeling a little not painful lately, but there's something within his blood that has been churning fire, like almost like a roaring fire, but not painfully, more
Right.
like a very warm essence that has subtly it's Delwyn doesn't really notice it until now because it's been so subtle. It's been gradually growing subtly, and what Flemeth is going to then inform Delwyn is he'll point out that feeling, and she'll say, "I know what you've been feeling, and the reason why you are feeling the way you are is because of the draconic blood that is within you.
Okay.
The dragon blood that you consumed has given you special abilities that are now beginning to manifest itself similar to how they manifested themselves to Maximilian.
Right.
The thing is, with you being a mage, the dragon blood affects you completely differently.
Okay.
So, there is now a dragon blood item in your journal. There's a dragon blood item in your journal.
Mm-hmm.
You have just unlocked something called dragon magic. The dragon magic dragon blood now courses through Delwyn's veins. Upon consuming dragon blood, the power of these mighty beasts course through your veins, the effects of which are much different than that of Maximilian, since Del was a mage.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the points that you put in to blood magic, did you go up to journeyman or master in that?
I should be master now.
Okay. Then you have novice, journeyman, and master of dragon magic. So you can use the power of your dragon blood to power your spells. First, you must use an action to enter into dragon magic mode. When casting a spell in this mode, decide how much penalty you wish to take on your spell check. For each penalty you give yourself, deal that much extra damage for offensive spells, heal that much extra for healing spells, and for all support-only spells, you can increase the area by that many squares, increase the duration by that many rounds, or increase other numerical values like your armor rating or your damage reduction by that much, depending on what the spell is. So you have the way to adjust instead of taking damage. In Journeyman, while you're in Dragon Blood mode, cast all spells at half the cost, including dragon magic spells. In addition, any healing that is done to you by any source can replenish mana points instead of health points.
Okay.
And then as Master, you gain the ability to cast an extra spell for free at no penalty per round. By for free, I mean you still have to cast the magic. You still have to spend the mana points.
Spend the mana points, make the rolls, do all that stuff, but it doesn't cost an action, correct?
Doesn't cost an action.
Okay.
Yes. And each time you do this, you strain yourself and take 1d6 points of damage. There are 3 dragon magic spells. The first one is Dragon Wound, which is similar to Blood Wound. You send forth a pulse of draconic energy to all enemies within 12 yards of you that lingers the following round. All targets take 1d6 plus magic penetrating damage and must make a constitution stamina test versus your spell power. Those that fail take 1d6 penetrating damage for each minor action, 2d6 penetrating damage for each major action, and 1 damage for each movement action that they take on their next turn. So it's
Okay.
sort of... and they are aware of these penalties, so each of your enemies has to like decide, do I want to really do that action because it'll take
Moving my
damage?
body is very painful right now. Do I really want
Exactly.
to swing this sword?
You gain a dragon breath attack. You exhale a breath of fire in an area up to 4x4 squares in front of you. A 4x4 square deals 1d6 plus magic penetrating fire damage. A 3x3 deals 2d6 plus magic. A 3x3 does 2d6. 2x2 does 3d6, and a single square does 4d6 plus magic penetrating fire damage. If the target succeeds at a Constitution stamina test versus your spell power, they only take half the damage. If the target fails the Constitution check, they are demoralized, imposing a penalty to all their rolls equal to the dimension, the one-side dimension of the area of effect that you chose. So it's very flexible. The last one, most powerful one, is your Draconic Presence. Once you activate this spell, your mere presence inspires all the allies around you. Any ally within 5 squares of you gains the following benefits. When they deal damage, they can deal up to 3d6 extra damage at the cost of 1 mana point for each 1d6 they are taking from you. When they take damage, they ignore up to 3d6 extra damage at the cost of 1 mana point for each 1d6 from you. And then when they, or yourself, botch, you personally can expend 5 mana points to ignore the botch completely. And the spell lasts for 3 rounds. Obviously, Dragon Blood mode cannot be activated while you're in Blood Magic mode.
I was
and
just
vice versa.
about to say, I assume you can't activate them
cannot.
together, yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing. What kind of monsters are you planning to throw at us here?
Yeah.
scared.
What is the final battle gonna be like?
It'll make sense to activate this first, and then when I run out of MP, be like, welp, okay. Time to burn through health now.
Yes. But the idea is healing spells also replenish your MP in this mode.
Yeah.
And the other nice thing about this mode is that you are able to get healed in the first place, unlike Logic
yeah.
Magic where you can't be healed.
Exactly.
So there are pros and cons.
You could be healed, you just have to suck the life force from your enemy.
Exactly. That is true.
You just have to punch them,
Exactly.
drain life.
When you guys are discussing what you are going to do, because technically you haven't made a decision yet of what you're going to do, Nathan is going to turn towards the group and look right, and he's going to say, we should sleep on this decision. And then he turns to Maximilian and looks at him straight in the eye and says, we should sleep on this decision, he says. Not sure how Maximilian, if he knows what he means by that,
Yeah.
but...
Very well.
That evening, in your dreams, you guys end up finding yourself in it looks sort of like a, I don't remember what the room is called. The room, the war room, I guess. Think war room from Dragon Age Inquisition, similar to that.
All right.
And everyone is assembled, not just the 4 heroes, but also, Plim and Jody and everybody else in your party, Cogs. All of you guys are gathered. And Nathan is in front of the war room table, and he says, I appreciate you guys for humoring me. I figured that since a certain demon is within a certain mage, this would be a safer way for us to converse. Cogs looks around and says, wow, this is very impressive. Where'd you get this room? Jody is going to pipe up and say, no, Cogs dear, none of this is real. This is all just, a dream. Oh, that's pretty convenient.
It's still very impressive, no?
Absolutely.
First time I've ever been in a meeting in a dream before, I'll give it that.
Well, actually, Vic can. I was gonna say Vic is a dwarf, but he's half dwarf, so he can dream. So they're all there.
At least a
They're all
little
there.
bit. Half of his body's there.
Half of his body. Half of Vic.
We're all just trying to avoid
just
eye
as tor-
contact.
Is
We're all
it
trying to avoid
Vic's
eye contact.
dwarf form, or is it Vic's golem form that shows up?
I could imagine seeing his dwarf form.
I think it'll still be his dwarf form because I think that's the form that he still remembers himself as more
That
vividly.
makes sense, yeah.
So it's still his dwarf form, and Vic's going, looking at himself, says, "Whoa!" He's like, "I lost a lot of weight." At any rate, Nathan says, we need to figure out what we're going to do with this information. Are you guys going back home the way we had intended for you all to do this entire time? Or given the information that we have, are we having some second thoughts?
Maximilian is actually... He's taking a step back, folding his arms over his chest and waiting for other people to speak first.
I think one of the first things we do know we have to do is have a lot to clean up before we move on, before we know where we go. I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement on that then, yes?
Yes.
Of course.
That's all fine and good, Nathan says. However, the longer we wait, I'm just very worried. Because the blight is over, and I'm sure that because the blight is over, Jestiel's powers are going to begin waning. If he is going to strike, possibly even completely take over Delwyn's body, he will probably want to do that sooner than later, while he's still strong enough to do so.
Yes.
Which means we have to kill him first.
Owen just kind of gives Maximilian a look, like, kill who?
Specify.
Yeah.
And Maximilian's just looking back, not saying anything.
Jody pipes up and
You mean
says,
we attack Giselle on his plane in the Phage, yes?
indeed, she says, I believe that what Flemeth said she can do is to guide us all into the Fade so that we can attack Jestiel and hopefully destroy him and his bond with Delwyn once and for all.
What of our duplicates?
Your duplicates, well, Flemeth explained that if you guys don't go back in time, your evil duplicates will end up remaining where they are and then getting killed ultimately at the Kokari Wilds when they're trying to kill Alistair and company.
Yes.
So they will be killed, and then your yeah. So that's
Yes.
basically what's going
But he's asking, they still have done a damage to that, so he's pretty much asking, should we not do something about them, essentially, is what he's trying to imply. So yeah.
Well, if you want to, that would require you guys to go back.
Yeah. Anyway, so
All sounds overly complicated to me.
as far as I understand, all of this was not supposed to happen. Our duplicates have ruined something that should have been way different. And I do not feel good leaving that untied. I would like to confront them.
I once thought as you did, Gwenail, that this thing that has been created here is just something false, something fake. This was not meant to be. And that we should, as you say, kill our doppelgangers. However, he starts circling the table. I think that what we have here and now is something real. Go ahead.
I do actually agree with you. I've went through the thoughts, but it occurs to me that this world is just as real, and the world that we had before, and the effects we had on it, all of these worlds are true and equal in some way. And in a sense, if we stop that from happening, we save still one world while this world still exists. If I can prevent that from happening, some suffering for that one world, to prevent that world from happening and set things back on track, I would like to do something about it.
Our only fear, Captain Maelstrom says, I think according to what your mere friend was saying, our only fear is that the only way we can do that is if you guys separate and go in different. Either half of you stay here and the other half goes to the other time, to your present time. The consequences of which will probably make my head hurt. Paradoxes and all that.
Could we not draw them into the Fade too and take care of them here? I believe that was some form of suggestion. I cannot. So much information was dropped at once.
I don't know.
Either way, they will probably be dead.
Well, all I know is I've done way more damage here than I've done back home before all this mess started. And, I've wronged a lot of people. He just kind of glances around, at Maelstrom, at Vic, at, everybody who's been affected by it. So, I'm not gonna go back and run away from this problem. It doesn't seem right to just run away and be like, I'll just go back and I'll, kill these doppelgangers and have, my life back. That's not fair. And it's cowardly, and I've spent my entire life running from things, and no, that's gotta stop sometime.
When you say that, Delwyn, Vicious Vic places his hand on your shoulder and gives it a pat.
I actually agree with Delwyn. Wise words. We have a responsibility here now.
Slight eyebrow raise at you agreeing with.
Just like,
What? Really?
How strange.
Speak the truth. We have a responsibility here now, whether we like it or not.
Maelstrom turns to her brother and says, Brother, what do you think?
I think that if we were involved in what has transpired in this particular timeline, then I believe it is up to us to help at least take care of it and to ensure that no more crisis can take place here.
Nathan says, well, whatever you guys decide, can we all agree that this messing around with time is probably magic that should probably never have existed in the first place?
Yes.
I think we should destroy the ritual regardless of what you decide to do.
I
I
agree.
think so.
It would be the best way to avert it.
Messing around with time and the very fabric of this universe, he says, I have to admit, makes me really nervous. Not that I don't want you guys to go home, but in my opinion, if you guys stayed here, it would definitely be the less risky option. We already know that the Blight ends here now, albeit maybe a little late, but it does end, and we have a chance to rebuild.
I don't think this is about risks anymore. It's about responsibility. But everyone must do what they think is right, of course.
Yes.
I feel the responsibility to tie up as many loose ends as possible. Those duplicates are an anomaly. They should not have been. And I do not want to continue. Erasing them will not solve this world, I know. And this world as it is now. And we have turned that around by getting rid of the archdemon for it. But the world before that, before the duplicate were around, can still be saved. and they should not have existed. Wherever we may lay lay for rest of where we stay, I still say I want to do something about it, even if I have to do it myself. I'll take down as many of them as possible, because they hurt innocent people.
I understand where you're coming from, Gwenail. Absolutely. But we need you here. We would not have come this far without you. And I fear that if we're not all together in this, we might fail. I'm sorry to say it, but there you go.
We started this, and now it's up for us to see this to its end.
All I ask, then, I understand what you say, is if we can just steal and the duplicate at the same time, bring them all into the Fade, is that a possibility?
I don't even know if we can do it, but even if we can do it, they might be more powerful than even us. I'm not sure I'm willing to take that risk.
The Fade is a little mysterious in how it works, and there's no exact way of knowing exactly what that will do if we succeed in that.
If we take some from the point that they entered the timeline originally that we're taking from us, then they should not be as strong as we are now.
Nathan pipes up and says, that might be possible. Just know that by choosing to do that, it makes our fight against Jastiel more difficult.
I know.
Well, we
It's a
killed an
compromise.
archdemon.
Yeah,
How much harder can it get?
that's true.
We'll be fighting ourselves. You know what the old saying is.
I don't know, it might be good to smack the stupid out of me.
So are we agreed?
Sure, Maximilian will get a kick out of beating me up.
He just smiles and nods.
I feel like this is like almost even like Gwenail's chuckling a little bit. It's like this should not be funny.
All right then. I guess we're agreed, Nathan says. All of us are going to go together then.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, gentlemen, ladies, Nathan says, no matter what happens, it's been a pleasure. I definitely hope to see everybody on the other side, but if not, just know that everyone did their part together to the end. Gwenail, Nathan says as he turns to you. I hope that I know this is not your home, at least not the home that you know, but just know that I'm very proud of you, and I definitely hope that you'll be able to find the happiness that you deserve here as much as you can.
Gwenail looks down for a moment and slightly in the direction of Delwyn, and looks back up at him and goes, I think I will. Thank you.
Out of character, this is the part of the Dragon Age game where you have an opportunity to say farewell to your companions. If there's anything you want to say to any of the NPCs before you guys go to the final battle, now is the time.
So NPCs only. Can we say goodbye to the other players outside the dream?
Yeah, if you want to.
I would turn to Maelstrom and say thank you again for finding us. It was by chance, yes, but we probably would have never even gotten out of that castle if it was not for you and your crew.
It is I that has to thank you, brother, she says. For the longest time, I didn't think I needed any family other than the one I had on my ship. And I was very wrong. I know that if you did go back to your time, you would not have rested until you found me again. I know that. And for that, I just wanted to say thank you.
Dolan gets up and kind of just, puts a gentle fist on Vic's shoulder, just like, you better come back alive. You have to drink me under the table.
Oh, shucks, he says. He gives you a punch back. You're alright, you crazy mage, you. He was up to say blood mage. You crazy mage, you. You are alright. Although I think the champion is sitting over there, he says, pointing over at Gwenail.
That was definitely rightfully gotten by Gwenail, Shifty Eyes. No cheating involved whatsoever.
I think Vic is actually going to go up to Maximilian and give him a pat on the shoulder. You ain't so bad, Maxie Waxy. You ain't so bad.
Ah, I wish I could say the same. Pat him on the shoulder.
He kind of holds up his hand and says, "One can dream." and he says
You'll
with a
be
grin,
going into battle with me to save the world. I had to respect that. And for whatever you did in the past, I mostly forgive you.
"Oh, shucks," he says. "That's one of the nicest things any guy's ever said to me."
Maximilian pats him on the shoulder, then moves past him and looks at Captain Maelstrom. Captain!
"Yes, guardsman," she says, as he looks at you.
I'm very thankful you didn't throw us off your ship. And
She nods.
I'm also very grateful for having been part of your crew. Vic, Plim, Nathan, all of you. I couldn't have wished for greater men and women to fight with.
"It's been a pleasure," she says, "even though it may not always have looked like that," Maelstrom says. "In the end, we were able to finish the Blight, were we not?
Yes.
So I think something good came out of all of the sacrifices we had to make."
And we're all going into the Fade to face perhaps one of the greatest foes of our time. And that counts for something, for each and every one of you. It would be an honor to fight and win at your side.
"Hear, hear," Plim says. And everyone else cheers at that. As soon as Maximilian gives that rousing speech, Jody kind of fans herself, says, "Whew, careful there, Maximilian." She says, "None of you all need to know what happens when you and I are in my dreams." She says.
I actually whispered to Jody and said that I'll make sure he comes back, not just in your dreams, I promise.
"That's very sweet," she says, and she gives you a kiss on the cheek. "Friends forever?"
Yes.
"Best friends forever." Now that I think about it, she comes out and she pulls out a wine bottle. She says, "I think this is a good opportunity for us to break this open. After all, this is sort of like having it twice. Even if we consume this here, I still got the bottle back when I wake up, she says as she shakes it. What do you think, Maximilian?
I think that's a great idea. Nathan, this is a dream. Yes?
Absolutely, he
That
says.
means that this bottle is enough for everyone, yes?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Well then, my friends. Are they glasses or something like that?
Yeah, conveniently you all of a sudden, without even realizing it, you all happen to have a glass in your hand.
Hey.
And Jody will go around and pour all of your glasses to the brim, and even after she pours the glasses, the bottle itself is still more than halfway full. She swirls it around, and she says, to friends and allies, may we find victory in all that we do in what is to come, she says as she raises up her glass.
Yes.
Yes.
You
Today,
better go dying now.
today we're all heroes.
Yes. Hear, hear. And everybody agrees and they cheers and they
Yay.
take a drink. It is one of the most amazing concoction you have ever placed your lips upon. Because it's a dream. Of course it's the most amazing drink that you've ever had. While you guys are drinking your toasts, Vicious Vic goes up to Lealden and says, all right, I guess this is for you, and he hands Lealden a pouch of gold. You were right. They ended up together at the end.
Well, if you want to get to semantics, there was a little bit of tension at first, so we'll split it.
Oh, well, you shouldn't have, he says. As you're splitting the gold...
You really shouldn't have.
Yes, as you're splitting the gold, you feel a tug from Cogs.
Remember, this is a dream. None of that is real.
Don't tell him that.
But he still owes you money, even after you wake up.
I'll figure that out later. Interesting.
Vicious Vic overhears that and goes as he waves his hand in front. Plim goes over to Maximilian. He still has a glass full of wine, and he clinks it to your glass. And he says, so, Maxie, I was thinking, after this is all through and over, what are you, do you think that maybe you and the missus, he says, pointing towards Jody, could use a bodyguard of some sort?
I've been thinking, I think the court of Kirkwall needs a bodyguard. Have you seen the champion of Kirkwall lately?
Oh,
Not
yeah.
me.
Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily... I guess he would pay me well, wouldn't he?
Well, I was thinking perhaps Kirkwall would need a new champion after this is done.
I
catch my
like your
drift.
thinking, he says. I like your thinking.
And having the favor of the champion might not be a bad idea.
Hey, he says, I might actually be able to walk around and... well, like myself for a change. Maybe.
Definitely a proud symbol.
As long as we can keep the streets safe together sometime, you're okay. Just like old times, my friend.
Just like old times. And he pats you on the back, and then he thinks for a moment, come here. And he walks up to you for a hug, or a big bro hug.
I kind of hug him back and this is kind of awkward.
Plim goes over to Jody. He places his hand on his shoulder, and he says, treat him good. And then he turns over to Maximilian and says, treat her better. And then he leaves. Anyone else want to say anything before?
Real quick, so that. Cogs.
Yes?
I've learned a lot from your notes. I think it's fair that I let you look at some of mine sometime. I think you might be able to gain a lot of valuable knowledge on how to work lyrium and such to more magnificent inventions.
Oh, honest and truly, I would be really appreciative of that. Thank you, Grinnell. Thank you.
I may not be able to use magic, but you have this amazing craft, so of course. You'll be able to help a lot of people, I think.
I would love to, he says. Hopefully I will be able to continue on where Dagna started. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You hear another voice call out from behind you, a voice that you guys have never heard before, but it's very gentle, and has a timbre of dignity to it. Gwinnell, you've heard this voice only one time before, but back when you were a child. And when you turn, you see that Archer is speaking and says, "Thank you, friends."
That just happened.
Archer says, "This is probably my only chance to say this, but you guys, I'm very appreciative of you guys, everything that you've done for me and my crew. I was talking, well, sort of writing to your mom, Gwinnell, and don't worry, all is forgiven. Thank you for helping me to come to terms with that. I probably would have become a very bitter person to the end of my days if it wasn't for that."
Gwinnell gets a bit choked up.
So Gwinnell.
Oh.
He actually hugs Archer.
Archer gladly smiles and he returns the hug. Aww. And then at that point, Cogs goes up and joins him with the hug, as well as Vicious Vic, and Maelstrom goes, "All right, crew hug." She goes over and wraps her arms around the whole group.
So many people.
So many people.
The catalyst of a crew hug.
Everyone all around